This podcast is brought to you by Scribophile, where you can find an online writing community that you've always wanted. And this is I Should Be Writing, Season 17, Episode 61.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hi there. Welcome to I Should Be Writing, the podcast for wannabe fiction writers. I'm your host, Mer Lafferty, and I just got back from taking my kid to college this past weekend. We drove there, and it was a very long drive up and a long drive back, even though we split the trip back into 2 days, and I'm very exhausted. Just not braining very well. And, I want to thank you guys, because if not for the stream, I would still be unshowered and in pajamas. But I'm trying to stream today, so I've got, even put a little makeup on. You're welcome. Oh, wow, I told the people on the stream that I was very brain dead today, and they are just throwing topics at me, and I'm very grateful. So this is going to be a grab bag of just questions. And always, if you have a question for the show and you're not listening live, please feel free to email me, and I'll address it on a future show. And I should probably check and make sure there aren't any outstanding emails to make me a liar. But I do like to start the show with what I've been working on. Real life kind of took precedence for that. Oh, hi, Potato Beta. Glad you're here. Anyway, if you have questions, I will try to answer them. I am not really good at looking things up while I'm talking, and no one else is here to vamp for me. But I will say, either tomorrow or next Wednesday, I can't remember, we're going to have Gail Carriger on Ditch Diggers, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I'm very excited about that because Gail is a longtime friend, and awesome person, helped give me the idea for the show. So we call her the Ditch Digger's godmother. But as for good news, I don't think I have anything new. I turned in my novella last week, and then have been focusing on non-writing stuff ever since. Been trying to do a lot of brainstorming and just work through problems in my head, but nothing actual concrete to write down. But if y'all have any good news, please tell me. If you have any good news and you're listening later, please email me, and I'll announce it on the next show. So if anybody has any good news, let me know. Hey, Gabrielle, excuse me. Good news, just started taking ADD medication after a couple of years of suspecting having it, and I'm super excited and happy. That's excellent. The really cool thing I found out about ADHD meds was, unlike antidepressants, God, no, nobody take depressants, please. Unlike antidepressants, the ADHD meds just kind of work. You don't need to take them for 3 weeks and wonder if life is ever going to get any better. Which I started taking depression medication in 2004, and I still remember that time when there was hope on the horizon, but it was still on the horizon, and the ADHD meds don't work like that, and that was a nice discovery for me. So I'm really glad they're working for you. That is excellent news. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to hit that twice. Confetti. And I will say I'm not a mental health professional, but I do talk about my issues with mental illness on this podcast, and I am very much against the romantic suffering dream of the artist who does not take care of themselves mentally and therefore can create great art and then die early. I just don't think, yeah. Hey, Selznick, good to see you. Oh, that is so good to hear. Thank you. I'm really glad that listening to my experiences helped you. And you know what? It's not like, if you don't like the meds, you can go off them. If you don't like what they do to your creativity, you can go off them. It's not a permanent change you make for the rest of your life. Yeah, thank you, Preemie. I'm just trying to normalize it. Yeah, although it is really annoying, my bank sent me a letter saying, I could get their life insurance, and I only have to answer 2 questions. Guess what one of the questions was? If you don't have or been treated for depression. The other one was cancer. So, yeah, that felt good. The 2 questions, and I couldn't answer one of them. Vale, who fights cats, insurance approved another 6 months of autoimmune treatment. It's the difference between tons of pain versus just feeling normal for a while. That's excellent. That is very good news. I am breaking into our discussion here because I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, Scribophile. A lot of people ask me if I know a way they can start a writer's group or join a writer's group or what to look for in a writer's group or beta readers or whatever. And I work alone a lot, so I don't really have an answer for that. But then I found out about Scribophile, and it's exactly where people want to be. You can upload your stuff, you can get detailed critiques from other people, you can find beta readers, you can help other people out by giving them critiques. It's been endorsed by Writer's Digest and NaNoWriMo and Predators and Editors, and has made several lists of 100 best websites for writers. There is a free membership and a paid membership, and I recommend you check it out because it looks pretty sweet, even on the free level. But thank you for your sponsorship for Scribophile, and if you guys want to check them out, check out scribophile.com, and I'll have that in the show notes. So I'm just going to go for the questions. I started early, wow. Catwood says, what do you think of the pros and cons of reading in your genre while writing? Oh, yeah. The pros are you can get really good ideas. And I'm not saying ideas in a copying kind of way. I'm saying ideas in a way that might, your idea might, the plot of the novel or the character or whatever might, leapfrog you to another place. But it was a necessary step to hear that or watch it or play it or whatever. And when you go that little bit farther, you get your own idea. And that helps out a lot. The cons are, speaking personally, because I don't have much of a self-esteem to speak of, I start comparing my novel to what I'm reading. And it's not comparing plot A versus plot B, it's the quality of the book. And I was reading and really enjoying the Expanse series, but when I started writing Six Wakes, I had to stop. They're very different books. Very different. You've got the sprawling epic space opera, and then you've got a murder mystery on a ship. They're different stories, but I'm just reading their stories, their space story, and looking at my space story and going, oh yeah, this sucks. And I had to stop reading. That was my downside of reading within my genre. As we talked about last week, even if you take an idea from a story and write it, you're going to be writing it new. And unless you start... proving plagiarism's really hard to do, and also just taking an idea from somebody else is not plagiarism. So you just gotta wonder if the readers are wanting another book like you have. People say it might influence your voice, but also feel like it keeps me in the right frame of mind, if that makes sense. Definitely. Yeah. But sometimes reading outside the genre can give you ideas that you never would have thought of while reading inside. Oftentimes, for me, that's it's nonfiction. Reading nonfiction's a chore for me, but when I get into something that's got a really good narrative going, I will get ideas for my work in progress. Kids Are Asleep is ruminating about how it feels like I must write important things about my culture or I won't get any traction or respect. I have heard that a lot, Val. It's a rock and a hard place thing where either your voice is too much of your culture or it's not enough and people expect a specific culture book to come out of you. And a lot of times thinking like that is extremely harmful, especially in LGBTQ groups that, if they don't want to put painful coming out stories or trans people wanting to put painful transition stories or whatever, some people are saying, well, that's then you're not doing the gay experience. And it's almost always straight cis people saying this, but some people demand like the pain of your culture if you are writing from that, and that is also not right. I don't know how to fix it. It's just, I have heard this many times from lots of people about how, their book was not Vietnamese enough or gay enough or, just, it is tough. I think step one would be trying to find an agent who gets that. And I don't remember who represents you, but I assume you trust them. But there are lots of agents out there who do want to tell stories of people other than the white experience or the straight experience, and will be better to approach than people who won't, because then they'll argue for you when it comes time. You get an editor who says no. But yeah, it is a problem. I'm glad it's being addressed, but it's still a problem. If you have any follow-up questions or comments, Val, just let me know. I'm trying to go between like the past and the future with the chat. Oh, I missed Underpopes. At what point is it wise to take a break from your work in progress and work on something else for a bit? I'm worried if I take a break from my work in progress, I might not pick that back up. Pick it back up. That is a really good question, Underpope. And this is something you can only answer for yourself. If you haven't done it before, then be very, very aware that you might be getting a subliminal message from your interior bits that say, we need to get away from this now, not I need a break. Because often putting something down for me can mean I give it up forever. I have, no, I'll never say what they are, but I have 2 books by friends who I picked it up, I tried to read them, and I put them down, and it wasn't an actual, like, noping out, no quitting here, but I never picked the books back up. And then I thought, I was going to read that. And so I picked them, each one, this is different times, but I picked them up, I read up to a certain point, I realized, and then I put the book down, and then I never picked it back up. So there was a noping out point for me in there, but it wasn't a very conscious one. I was just like, okay, I'm done reading for today, I'll put the book down and never get it again. So that is a danger you could be with putting your work in progress down. For me, the problem lies in whatever tension or subtle plot thing I was working on will be forgotten. Anybody who ever has if you have a laptop and a small person or furry thing in your house, you probably know what it's like to have a nose or a hand come down on your keyboard and magically hit Control Alt Delete or the power button or whatever. I had people ringing a doorbell, or rather somebody answering a door when that happened to me. And I was angry, and I was visiting somebody. I was not at home, and so I didn't really get back to the work for a couple of weeks. And I picked it up, and I'm like, I don't know who's knocking on the door. And I made somebody up, but I still don't know what my first thought was, who would be at the door. So I say, if you haven't done it before, then do it very structured. Say, I'm going to give myself a week off of this book, or I'm going to give a new project 10,000 words, or whatever. But make sure you put it on your calendar or a post-it note somewhere that you have to pick up the work in progress, that this is just a vacation, not a move. Have you ever wrote your story backwards, writing the ending first? No, I have not. The closest I get, I'm a seat of the pants writer, so I often don't know the end of my stories. And sometimes I do, but that doesn't seem to make it easier. But what I did do with 6 Weeks is I wrote it non-chronologically. It's just when I wanted to write somebody's backstory, I wrote their backstory. And that meant a lot of work at the very end to move all the scenes around. But ultimately, that worked out. So, yeah, I think with flashbacks, that's easier. Or with points of view, different points of view, that might be easier. But, like, write it Memento style, I've never done that. Yeah, Preemie says, I so much feel the, oh hey, didn't know you could do that, or I didn't think an editor would buy this, but it's also simultaneously, oh no, it's been done before, now I cannot do it. Yeah, that's a problem. I've been lucky in that apparently the things that influence me do so on a very deep level, and I don't even realize it. I said it before. Now it's very obvious that my Shambling Guide series was written by a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan. But I didn't think about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy at all. That book was originally influenced by Katrina, when a bunch of game writers got together and said, we were going to write like a New Orleans, a book to do, oh God, I don't even remember it. It was a book if you want to put your role-playing game in New Orleans, some things to think about. And everybody did something different. And I decided that I wanted to do, I don't know why I thought of this, but I wanted to do a zombie showing everybody around New Orleans, but showing monsters around. So telling them where they can sleep, where the safe mausoleums are. And that was just like a 5,000 word project, and the idea stayed with me. So, yeah, a lot of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy references, but I didn't realize it until I read the first review that mentioned it. Yeah, I do the stopping self a lot of, oh, I can't do that. And I have been told more than, I brought this up before, but I've been told more than once that I'm brutal. And I don't see it. And I'm wondering if it's a gender thing or what. But I'm saying from like agents and editors have said this, that what I'm working on is too brutal. And that's, I know I've got a dark streak, and sometimes I find things funny that other people don't. But that's kind of what makes me a good writer, isn't it? One of the things? I don't know. I love reading fiction that's similar in tone, but outside of the genre. When I'm pre-stages of a project, it's inspiring, and the writing is beautiful. It's set the bar to keep in reach. Yes, that's a good point, Matt. Well, I have time for one more question on for the podcast itself, if anybody has anything else they want me to bring up. Otherwise, I will close down the podcast and we can keep hanging out here. I've been been thinking about other genres to write in, and so I've been reading in those genres away from science fiction and fantasy. And what my brain does is it tries to come up with a sci-fi spin on whatever real life story I get. Like, I could do a psychological murder thriller in space on Mars. Yeah, it'll be on Mars. Yeah. I don't know. You say that like it's a bad thing. Well, speaking completely materialistic and market driven, I'm pretty sure that a book that is like The Girl on the Train or The Woman in Cabin 10 or whatever is gonna sell more than if The Girl on the Train was on a high-speed monorail system on Jupiter. So that's the only bad thing. So I'm gonna shut down the podcast itself right now. Thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing. You can find me online at many different places: Patreon, Coffee, Jemmy, Murverse.com, Twitter, Mighty Mur. If you want to catch the live show, Twitch has, I'm on Twitch at 2 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Eastern Time. And I have started doing 11 a.m. streams with Matt Wallace so we can bring you Ditch Diggers live. And it's a little earlier than expected because Matt's got a day job, so that's when we can get together and do it. So that's me. If you want to support the Patreon or the Jimmy or on Twitch, I would be appreciative, but it's not necessary. You can also spread the word about my books and Escape Pod and all that crap. Because I live and die on your words. That's a little exaggerated, but still. Tell a friend. And, I will see you next time on Thursday. And you should be writing. I Should Be Writing is available to you under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Theme music by John Anelio. Art by Numbers Ninja. Production by Summer Brooks. And hosting by Libsyn. Find all of this information and more at Murverse.com. And remember, we can't do this without you. Thanks for your support.
I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.